What's up, guys? Your boy, 20K13. Gonna talk about 5 reasons why Seth Rollins just got voted PWI Top Wrestler of 2015. And this comes from WhatCulture.com. In 2012, Seth Rollins was placed number 46 on the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine Top 500 Professional Wrestlers of the Year list. The following year, Rollins moved up to 35. Before going as high as number 12 in 2014, that marked improvement had been better tenfold by the man who was announced as PWI #1 wrestler in the world this week. That's a sign of how far the man has come since he was signed by WWE in 2010. A standout in developmental, Rollins was called up as part of the Shield stable in 2012. Further impressive, he was nonetheless regarded as the member WWE would be least interested in pushing. Obviously, things hadn't panned out that way, and he is both the United States and WWE World Heavyweight Champion today. Incredibly talented in-ring performer, Seth's one major drawback, according to men like Jim Ross, has been his lack of mic skills. That's something the man can work on, however. He's not exactly awful when it comes to selling promos, feuds, or matches. That aforementioned in-ring talent more than make up for any mic-related shortcomings. Rollins is a dynamic performer. This article explores fully why Seth Rollins was ranked number 1 on the annual PWI list. There can be no doubt that he deserves the acclaim, but what moment this far in 2015 has stood out and enabled the guy to pick up such a distinguished reward for his effort? Number 5. Didn't look out of place during triple threat match against Lesnar and Cena. Brock Lesnar and John Cena have been established stars in WWE for over a decade. At the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in January 2015, Seth Rollins was tasked with being sandwiched in between both monstrous names. Then the holder of the Money in the Bank briefcase, it still would have been easy for Rollins to become overshadowed by his more illustrious opponent. As anyone watching will attest, that didn't happen. In fact, Rollins looked every bit as essential to the success of the match as Cena and Lesnar. There's an argument to be made that WWE officials were so impressed with his performance that the bout played a big part in what was to come at WrestleMania. Had Seth tanked or looked average during the triple threat encounter, it seemed unlikely he would have been given the WWE title at Mania. Thankfully, his incredible talent meant there was no fear about a shoddy performance, working well with both his rivals. Rollins came out of the match a bigger star than he went in. That should always be the goal in WWE main event matches, regardless of eventual result. Even though Rollins was the one pinned by then-champ Lesnar, he didn't look out of place in the contest. Number 4. Hasn't been overshadowed by the dominating authority storyline. Similarly to the match at Royal Rumble, it would have been easy for Rollins to slide into a backseat role as part of the authority. Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and Kane are all long-running, strong characters, but Seth Rollins had obliged filled the part of being the group crown jewel. That's easier said than done, and hasn't always been the case for previous champions. When Chris Jericho was WWF WWE Undisputed Champion in early 2002, he felt like an afterthought when programmed alongside Stephanie and Triple H. Their circumstances are clearly different. He aligned with the power couple, but it still would have been possible to suffer the same fate as Jericho. Instead, Rollins has shown as part of the authority. There have been worries about the fact he has portrayed a stereotypical cowardly heel on television, but his in-ring performance has offset any of those doubts. Even when he looked set to be mirrored in a dual program opposite Kane, Rollins looked assured and confident in his ability. Better yet, his matches have remained of a very high quality throughout every single storyline he worked in 2015. Number 3. Killed it every single time he in matches regardless of opponent. Is there a more consistent in-ring performer in 2015 than Seth Rollins? The argument is one that's sure to be hardly contested. but Rollins must be up there with most wrestling fans, regularly wrestling on episodes of Raw, SmackDown, and the bigger pay-per-view events. Seth's matches are ever entertaining. That's a hallmark of legends such as Shawn Michaels, so Rollins should be proud. No matter who he had been tasked with working a match against, Rollins had a style. Nobody can claim the man ever phoned in performances. He always looking to have the best bout on the card that come across in his work ethic, and the guy had even been praised by many for entering superb performances on non-televised house show events. Generally, top stars tend to work a safer style on these shows, saving themselves for the bigger matches. That hasn't been the case with Rollins. That's something Pro Wrestling Illustrated have likely picked up on. Seth's attention to detail during matches has been awesome to watch. He's one of the few main event stars who is willing to give opponents a lot of offense regardless of their standing on the card. For an example of that, watch back to his bout against Neville on Raw in April. Number 2. His match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania 31 was a dark horse classic. In retrospect, Randy Orton vs. Seth Rollins from WrestleMania 31 was one of the best matches on the entire card. The likes of Brock Lesnar vs. Roman Reigns and Sting vs. Triple H took center stage, but Rollins vs. Orton was, in hindsight, at least a genuine classic. Given time, the bout would surely receive more platitude. It was superbly well worked. That point actually feeds into a previous one. Seth Rollins had been able to shine even when he's not the focal point. At WrestleMania, neither he nor Randy Orton were the one who was supposed to steal the show. Of course, Rollins would experience a huge moment later, cashing in his Money in the Bank privilege to win the WWE World Heavyweight title. That moment shouldn't take away from what he achieved earlier in the show. The finish has become a much-sought-after gift online. Showing mind-bending athleticism, Rollins launched himself into the air, looking to hit his then-trademark curve stomp, and was brought crashing back down to earth by Orton's patent RKO. The move looked spectacular, but it was the overall bout that caught the eye. There was great chemistry there between both men, and they constructed a truly fantastic collision, one worthy of WrestleMania. Number 1. Consistently had excellent WWE title matches with all comers. Since winning the WWE World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania, Seth Rollins had defended the belt on 6 different pay-per-view events. At Extreme Rules, he defeated Randy Orton before defending against Orton, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose in a fatal 4-way match at Payback. From there, he faced Ambrose on back-to-back shows, beating him in singles action at Elimination Chamber and in a ladder match at Money in the Bank. A minor hiccup to his domination occurred at Battleground when he was booked to lose via disqualification to Brock Lesnar. Even so, Rollins held on to the title, which was crucial when so many fans had expected him to drop it before the show. The Undertaker's reappearance did take away from Seth's own part in the action, but he redeemed himself by defeating John Cena the following month at SummerSlam. As things stand, Rollins is set to face both Cena and Sting at Night of Champions on September 20th. It's a huge show of faith from WWE management to place him in 2 different title bouts on the one pay-per-view. In truth, however, every single title effort Rollins has been involved in throughout 2015 has been tremendous. If he can come out of Night of Champions, but with both the United States and WWE title around his waist, it'll only validate why Pro Wrestling Illustrated named him the #1 wrestler this year. Well, that is, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.